In the summer of 1958, behind the golden gates of Beverly Hills, one of Hollywood's most beloved stars was fighting a battle no camera would ever capture. Cary Grant, the epitome of charm and sophistication, was quietly unraveling. The man who had made millions swoon with his effortless grace was drowning in a sea of personal demons that threatened to consume everything he had built. What happened next would remain Hollywood's most closely guarded secret for decades, a story so extraordinary that it would reshape not just Grant's life, but challenge everything we thought we knew about the golden age of cinema. Picture this. It's a crisp Tuesday morning, and Grant sits in the sterile waiting room of Dr. Mortimer Hartman's clinic in Beverly Hills. His hands, usually steady enough to light a cigarette with movie star precision, are trembling slightly as he signs a waiver that would change his life forever. The document authorizes his participation in experimental LSD therapy, a cutting-edge treatment that was completely legal and gaining recognition among Hollywood's elite as a revolutionary approach to mental health. But why was Cary Grant, seemingly the most confident man in America, seeking such radical treatment? The answer lies buried in childhood trauma that no amount of fame could heal. Born Archibald Leach in working-class Bristol, England, Grant had spent his entire adult life running from the ghosts of his past. His mother had been institutionalized when he was just 11, and he was told she had died. This lie would haunt him for 30 years. Dr. Hartman's clinic wasn't some back-alley operation. It was a respected medical facility where wealthy patients paid hundreds of dollars per session for what was then considered breakthrough psychiatric treatment. LSD, still legal until 1968, was being used by licensed psychiatrists to help patients break through psychological barriers that traditional therapy couldn't reach. Grant's first session began at 10 a.m. sharp. As the substance took effect, something extraordinary happened. For the first time in decades, the carefully constructed persona of Cary Grant began to dissolve, revealing the frightened child Archie Leach had once been. In that vulnerable state, guided by Dr. Hartman's gentle voice, Grant began to confront the abandonment and rejection that had shaped his entire worldview. "I was finally able to accept my parents for what they were," Grant would later confide to a close friend, though he never spoke publicly about these sessions. "Not as the gods or devils I had made them, but as flawed human beings trying to survive their own pain." Over the course of 3 years, Grant underwent more than 60 LSD sessions. Each one peeled back another layer of the psychological armor he had worn since childhood. But here's where the story becomes truly fascinating. This deeply personal journey began to transform his approach to acting in ways that audiences could sense but never quite understand. Watch Grant's performances before and after 1958, and you'll notice something remarkable. The charming but emotionally distant leading man of the 1940s evolved into someone capable of profound vulnerability. In North by Northwest and later films, there's a depth to his performances that critics attributed to maturity, but Grant knew the real source of his newfound emotional range. But the transformation wasn't without its challenges. During one particularly intense session in late 1959, Grant experienced what Dr. Hartman's notes describe as a complete ego dissolution. For nearly 6 hours, the actor believed he was simultaneously every character he had ever played, while also being none of them. This terrifying yet liberating experience forced him to confront a fundamental question. Who was he when the cameras stopped rolling? Now, here's the part that will surprise you. Grant wasn't the only Hollywood star undergoing this treatment. A secret network of actors, directors, and producers were all patient of Dr. Hartman, though strict confidentiality agreement kept their identities hidden. Some insiders whispered that the creative explosion of late 1950s and 1960s Hollywood owed more to these experimental therapies than anyone dared admit publicly. The most profound session occurred in March 1961. As Grant later described in his private journal, discovered only after his death, he experienced a vision of himself as a young boy, finally understanding that his mother's institutionalization wasn't his fault. The guilt he had carried for 50 years simply evaporated. For the first time since childhood, Archibald Leach felt worthy of love. This breakthrough had immediate real-world consequences. Within months, Grant's relationship with women began to change dramatically. Previously known for keeping emotional distance even from his wives, he suddenly became capable of genuine intimacy. His fourth marriage, to Diane Cannon in 1965, while tumultuous, was the first time colleagues observed Grant as genuinely emotionally invested in a relationship. But perhaps the most telling change was in Grant's relationship with his own success. The man who had once been driven by an insatiable need for approval began turning down lucrative film offers. When asked why he was being so selective, Grant gave a cryptic response that makes perfect sense in light of what we now know. "I finally learned the difference between being Cary Grant and playing Cary Grant." By 1962, Grant had quietly ended his sessions with Dr. Hartman, but the impact continued to ripple through his life. He became an advocate for mental health treatment, though he never revealed the specifics of his own journey. Close friends noticed he had developed an almost Zen-like approach to life's challenges, approaching problems with a clarity that seemed to come from some deep, unshakable foundation. The story might have remained buried forever, if not for a chance discovery in 1986, shortly after Grant's death. Among his personal papers, researchers found detailed journals documenting his entire therapeutic journey, written in his own hand. These journals revealed not just the specifics of his treatment, but his own analysis of how it changed him as both an actor and a human being. In one particularly poignant entry from 1963, Grant wrote, "I spent 40 years trying to become someone worthy of love, only to discover I was worthy all along. The tragedy isn't that it took me so long to learn this, it's how many people never learn it at all." Today, as we look back on Cary Grant's extraordinary career, we see not just one of cinema's greatest stars, but a man who courageously confronted his deepest fears in pursuit of authentic happiness. His secret journey through experimental therapy didn't just heal his wounded psyche. It gave him the emotional tools to deliver the nuanced, deeply human performances that cemented his legacy. I leave you with the song Cary Grant loved to listen to during his most reflective moments. See you in the next video.